The power of Flam to deceive the demons. The demons are arrogant. I'm proud of my magic. They're always bragging about their enormous magic power. Of them. In other words, they're bound by magic. Just like that, Frieren has spent his life limiting magic. Gradually Flam also to old age. She is very reassured to entrust all his magic to Frieren. Before his death, she told Frieren to live in hiding. The moment you go down in history, maybe it's time to destroy the devil. Shortly after Flam died, Frieren creates a field of flowers on her grave. Because it's magic that she likes the most. This is also the magic that you like the most later. Years later, Frieren continues to live a carefree, hidden life in a forest, until one day Himmer's party set foot here. The magic now of Frieren has been significantly limited. The hater thinks you are just a mediocre magician. But with him, I can feel the Friar. He's a very powerful wizard. And the rest is history. Back to the battle. Aurora noticed Frieren's magic power. It was worth it. So, we started using the compliance scale. Aura pulled out her and Frieren's souls and put them on a bite. The scale immediately tilted in Aurora's direction. She took the sword towards Frieren. To Aurora, you're a talented magician. But the power is too low. I guess Frieren too. I have been practicing for 100 years. At this point, the balance is gradually coming back into balance. Frieren began to explain. You've limited your power. That way you can be fooled. But Aurora doesn't believe that. Even Frieren has limited power. It can't be more than her. Because Aurora is a great demon that's lived for 500 years. Talk about here. Frieren unleashed his enormous magic power. Do you know, I am facing with a shaman who's lived more than 1,000 years. The balance is tilted towards the Frieren. She ordered Aurora to end her own life. If the devil deceives people with words, Frieren tricked the devil with magic. Episode 11. After punching or guillotine finished, Frieren stayed to pray for the brave. It's been under her control for years. Fern's team and staff were also chased to the spot. Fern stood with the master in prayer. There was also the presence of Lord Runner. So Frieren tried again. However, Count Ranald had already pardoned Frieren. So you can rest assured to stay. Friday complimented the coffee and stack did very well. But a little less ruinous is great. Based on a hero's pendant, granite. I can see your son again, even now. The two are separate. Back to the city. Count Runner decided to reward everything is in his power. Frieren. What Frieren? Want to be just a magic book that protects borders? This city of the great Flam Shaman. The Count said this book was a fake. Even though Frieren knows it, he still wants it. Because this is your hobby. Frieren's manner of speaking to the Earl was very polite. So, Granite, I told you to give up this way of talking because compared to Frieren, Granite is just like a child. Frieren was polite to the Count. That's because before we went to destroy the Demon King, Himmer and Iceland, he lied to the king. To the end of almost flying head. And by the way, Stark remembered last night. He also talked to the Count. So now you're a little shaky. Right now, the gardener on hand is still 5 lei. The axe to the work report. With the count. The emperor thought he was the one to execute him. So you fainted. That's why the dung has to use magic to carry you back. In fact, this city, the rules here are not as strict as in the capital. Granite said that last night just to start. Be afraid to run. Frieren team. Keep living here until the beginning of winter. Before leaving, Ronald warned the group about the danger and the complex of the 6 northern regions. He advised the whole group. There should be a first-class magician with you to enjoy more privileges. Even Frieren isn't a first-rate magician. Because you're lazy. Where's the time to go? Get a shaman's license. The only thing that proves Frieren is a magician, this mysterious artifact. Even fan before exploring with Frieren. Quickly buy yourself a certificate. Shaman class BA. So the whole group decided. Go to the city, the 6 greatest places Albert, to enter the wizard contest. Sometime later, the harsh winter in the north of the 6 places began to arrive. The group was now faced with a snowstorm. Because of too much fat. So I started to burn out and passed out. This makes Mama. The whole group must carry him on their back. It's getting dark. Fortunately, Frieren remembered that Ra had a house nearby. So Bia went there. The door just opened. I hit the friar in the eye. Is a goblin guy who's crazy about exercise. I want everyone out of here. Immediately, because inside the house is a pervert. And there's a pervert who's naked. Not in the middle of winter. Goblin guy, introduce yourself to everyone. That's why shit gets in the house. This goblin is a monk named Grab. Because I forgot the ignition. He had to exercise in the house to heat up the body. Now there's a fire wizard. So the house started to warm up. Stark's body temperature continues to rise. In a dream, the Emperor dreamed that he could eat an ice cream. Super big giant. But when you wake up, you realize, I'm sleeping with a naked uncle. I thought I just got caught. He screamed, causing the whole group to wake up. Grab's cargo car was buried in the blizzard. The 2 wizards helped me transport them to the house. This is food for all 4 of us to survive the winter. Today, Crab made a pendant thanks to Frieren. Give it to Fern. Grab guesses that feces are grown by a priest. She had a strong belief in the goddess. Like that. No matter how big your achievements, the number of people who know it is not. The crab wanted to be praised by the goddess before he left. I also guessed that Frieren's never been praised by an eye. I will praise you on behalf of the goddess. This makes Frieren remembers her conversation with Hater. In the past, the Hater now also recognized the Frieren. They're limiting their power. Frieren was not surprised. Because you've been together for a long time. Even a drunken priest. But Hater paid RA to build an orphanage. This proves Hate is a person of strong faith. The goddess and, of course, Friday. It is not. Thanks for that, Frieren. They're great teammates. The snow started to melt, so everyone said goodbye. To get on the road. And then the dream of meeting after a few hundred years was born. From here. Episode 12. 85 years ago, when the brave party set out to sell to the Demon King. The stingy king only gave them 10 for the highway. However, the Himmer's spirit did not diminish. Heimer and Hater. It's two children who grew up with an orphanage in the village. Heimer's sword is called the warrior's sword, but it's just a phase. However, if you defeat the Demon King, then it will become real. Let's see. Frieren woke up and found out he was being Mama. Piggy dung. A few minutes ago, when BA is moving on a snowy road. Then this time, it's old lady Frieren's turn to fall asleep. Because Stark had to carry an axe in his back. So you asked to hold Frieren. But they refused because they thought Stark was a pervert. Frieren woke up and went back to sleep. This time the staff wants to change the CA for me. The look on your face is not very reliable. Should not give. After a while, the group arrived at the Sword Village. This village is called Sword Village, because this is where the warrior sword is kept. The warrior can draw this sword. He will be a hero to save the world. According to the rumors of the world, 85 before opening, it's the one who pulled it out. The village chief here is just a kid, because this village has a mother's tradition. That, after a while, she invited the whole team to play. She blames Frieren for promising to come back in half a century. But now it's coming. That's what your grandmother wrote in her will. What does this kid know? Recently, the village has been attacked by monsters. So the next morning, the group sent the monsters to sell salt. Stark suddenly discovered a strange cave. There's a lot of monsters gathering. So you jumped in. At this moment, a giant monster appeared. It's called the Forest God. Even if it's a forest god, Frieren. Just a trick. Is that it evaporates instantly. The reason why the monsters gathered in front of the cave. Because in the cave is the warrior sword. I'm very curious about this. Actually, even Himmer. I cannot draw this sword. But by the sheer faith of a warrior. Then Himmer, you can defeat the devil without it. People want Himmer to be a real hero. So hide this shameful thing. But in the end, it's an unnecessary chapter. Of a hero. Goodbye to the Sword Village. And then rest in a small town. Today is the staff's 18th birthday. I'm wondering what to give you. Frieren had already prepared a gift. It's the drug that melts clothes. Because she was sure the boys will be excited. Before this, stool itching eyes, so I poured all this wonderful medicine into Frieren and left in anger. In the end, Fern decided to ask Stark directly. But when did you get out? Fern thought that Stark wouldn't be happy to be Frieren. Give it to the pervert Kia. After a search, Stack is looking at the clouds. The Kia cloud comparison is like big round pair of grapefruit. Make shit look different about you. Go out and ask the staff. But he showed off that weird cloud that made. Let me stretch you too. After a moment of silence, then the dung will open the question. What does Stack want for your birthday? I was surprised because of the circumstances. You've never been given a gift before. Stark also had a family in the past. But Father Stark, I'm only interested in Stark's brilliant brother. He always despises you. The only person who cares about Stark is his brother. However, When the village was attacked by demons, Stark left everything behind and ran. So Stark thought to himself, people like me, they don't deserve a birthday present. But for Fern, Stark has always been a strong warrior. Never run away. And then Fern gave Stark a silver bracelet. Both returned to the inn. I see Frieren has prepared huge plates of minced meat. Stark's happy that in the past, Iceland makes this too. Let's eat it. Before every AI birthday. Then AI ribs also make this minced meat. Because it's a custom in your village. It's like a gift for warriors. Tried my best. Now, Stark remembers Rai on his birthday. Your brother also made minced meat for you. So, before now, Stark hasn't always been as lonely as you think. And the day the demons attacked the village, it was Stark's brother who told you to run away. Stark is very happy. Then Frieren again pulled out the medicine that melted Kiara's clothes for you. Needless to say, I can predict the end. How's it going? Episode 13. This brother's name is Slug. Today is the day of the harvest festival in the Slug village. So I went into the forest to pick wild vegetables. Careless, the slug fell into a small swamp. And then I met Frieren, are also picking wild vegetables. To be Frieren studied. The snail told her about her past. The slug has a best friend. As a child, they both wanted to be an adventurer. However, when I grow up, only your best friend is an adventurer. And slugs stay in the village. But Frieren doesn't really care, because he's afraid of getting his hands dirty. So she's trying to remember magic, pulling people out of the swamp. While Frieren, I'm thinking, I'm slowly sinking. Fortunately, Fern showed up. To thank for saving lives, the slugs invited people into the village to rest. But Frieren refused. Because now the group has to go to a big town to resupply supplies. Slugs tell people to be careful, because there's a lot of toxic stuff in this forest. The stack is bitten by a snake. So you've been poisoned. Then your health gets weaker. Even Frieren, I don't know much about magic. So they had to go back to the village to find a priest. Frieren takes Stark to a church. Even the best kind here. It can't solve the poison. However, your brother can easily. Treatment for Stark. And incidentally, that brother is a slug. With just a flick of poison on you, Stark has been removed. The priest is the best priest here. The proof is holy. The one you are wearing is from Hater. That's it. Slugs, better than you proved the slug is a genius. The priest told his brother's story. Listen to the whole group and I'm looking forward to it. Frieren can take the skewer away from the village. The whole group agreed with this idea, so that evening, Stark volunteered to invite the slugs to the team. I don't know how the Emperor went. I still can't see it at night. So Fern and Frieren had to leave the inn to find Stark. And then you've both seen Stark again. But you're naked in the cold winter. A few hours ago, Stack did invite slugs to the real team. But my slug brother is busy gambling. Gambling requires 4 legs to be fun. So Stark stayed with him. Slug and lead to the end of this suffering. Slugs are no better than Stark. By the way, slugs also refused an invitation to Frieren's team. Because now you're a fallen SA uncle. This reminded Frieren of the time when he invite me to join the team of heroes. Frieren said, "Why, Chang, the words that himmer when I invited you to the shower." But it seems that Sen still refused to join. She helped both of them to buy their clothes, but then you start to get angry because only the bad guys or just go gambling. This time Frieren decided to stay in the village to recruit slugs. Because you think sometimes helping others, it's as good a thing as the way he used to do it. The days after that, so the whole team started doing whatever it took to get the slugs on the team. But they were rejected every time. So Frieren had to ask father what the slugs liked. In addition to gambling alcohol, raw cigarettes, slugs also like older sisters. This is also why as a child, slugs want to be adventurers. Incidentally, in the group, there is also an old lady. So Stack used that to invite slugs into the group. But the slug refused, because Frieren doesn't look like an older sister. Friday uses a unique trick that your master taught you to seduce men. That's the wind kiss. Before, with just a gentle kiss, that Heimer rolled out fainting. So, Frieren applied that trick again to the slugs. Kiss the wind. Of course it didn't work. With an uncle like a slug. It was years ago. The snail overheard the conversation. Brother with hater. The slug's brother was invited by the hater to be a priest in the holy city. But my brother refused because of his slug brother. Snails have lost their parents since they were children. You can't steal the slug's homeland anymore. So now the slug won't leave the village because of his brother. I heard that the priest slapped me because of those negative thoughts, thanks to which the mind of the oblique seems to have changed. That afternoon, I decided I was going to be an adventurer, to find a best friend. The next day, goodbye brother, with the villagers to join Frieren's party. So Frieren's party, there's a new teammate, a slug-eating priest. Episode 14. In previous episodes on the staff's birthday, Shit had to think a lot about Stark's birthday present. Today is Fecal birthday, and yet Stark forgot to prepare a present for her. So the Dung was so angry with the Emperor that it makes you so angry that you leave. If it's a lotus, you're not prepared. The Dung, because he thinks men rarely care about things like a birthday. This makes the shit crazy. Let's show the old man a fight. After the stool calms down, it is said that at such a sensitive age for girls, Stark, you're vulnerable. The slug advised the Dung to go find Stark and apologize to him. Even Frieren agrees with that idea. Stark, he was angry, so he went to the square and sat alone. I see you sitting there, but you don't know how to start. So we're looking for slugs. I caught the old man buying himself a birthday present. Birthday gift of slugs is a pretty wallet. I'm sorry for kicking you. Really, the reason you're angry at Stark is because it's your birthday. We both went to pick out a birthday present together. But it's your birthday. Stark didn't make any moves, thanks to advice from slugs that evening. I'm sorry, Stark. Lord Stark isn't as bad as you think. Stark was going to ask you to pick a birthday present. You're afraid of being angry, so I dare not say. You two made it together and then together to buy a birthday present. This is a scene where young people hold hands. You guys are going to push the boat. The conversation, both of them were wiretapped by Frieren and Shin. When people grow up, they understand the distance between people. There will be emotions that are hard to talk about. Stack and Stack is an example, because you're both 10 years old. The gift that Stack gave Fern. It's also a beautiful bracelet. In the afternoon when you have a conversation, the first person you came to was not Frieren, which is a slug-like addicted posture. Friday thinks Fern must be hater with slugs, because they're both in the same position. They think they don't deserve it. It is not compared to hate. Fry thinks differently. Fern, not that hate. He's not a great person because he was in the army. You know all your bad habits. A few years ago, Frieren said that Hater has changed a lot, and it looks like an older person. When I get old, Hater thinks, you have to pretend to be a perfect adult, to be a place to rely on. The Hater will praise her a lot for her fans to try. Then the AI will praise the Hater for pretending to be an adult. Here, that's Frieren. Back to the present. Frieren also praised the slug for playing a pretty good adult. The next day, the group continued their journey in a carriage of a good businessman. At this moment, Frieren saw the ring. That start-giving spray that reminds her of the ring. Have a similar design that Hema gave me. And then, Frieren 6 searched his massive VA for the ring. However, when I saw it, the carriage was now shaking violently. That's why Frieren lost the ring. The car right now, it's being stolen from the sky by a giant bird. If this continues to happen, then the whole group's going to be dinner. Friday and Fern will be allowed to fly, to land the slug and the merchant. And Stark. Frieren thinks that a warrior like you jumps off. It probably won't. It's because Stark was a student of Iceland. It's like a buffalo. If you're crazy, the stack jumps. That's the plan. But when the bird starts to accelerate, Frieren gave it an evaporator. And so the team had a pretty good landing. But it's okay. The carriage was badly damaged. So the whole group, I had to camp in the woods for a few days to fix my car. Now the feces are showing off to the slugs about the bracelet. Cute master giveaway. Lotus glass motifs on the bracelet. It is a symbol of eternal love. See Stark suffering more clearly than anyone else. It was Fern's birthday. Stark had to apply. Look at the face forever. You can choose a gift. Show Fern. For Stark, it's good that Fern likes the gift. After listening to the obliquity explain about the flower on the ring, both Stack and Dung to understand what it means. Fear of being angry when you should. Stack, please give a gift back. I appreciate this gift so much, I hope. Don't he say words like that anymore? I took the opportunity to laugh both. The days after that, everyone's working very hard. So the carriage was repaired. And the team can move tomorrow. That night, Frieren tried to find the ring that he opened for her. I know the meaning of that ring. Fern also helped him find a hand. Fortunately, the merchant has a magic scroll. Fine jewelry. So I gave it to you. Let Frieren be the reward of the trip. In the past, Homer rewarded Frieren. The because of your efforts in the past. Himmer led Frieren. I went to a jewelry store and I picked one. But the ring that Frieren reselect contains interlocking glass flowers. What symbolizes eternal love 9 makes. Himmer was a bit surprised. Under the sunset, Himmer got on her knees wearing it for Frieren. A bright light from the forest came out. Help Frieren find the ring. Frieren had originally intended to leave it, because Himmer gave you so many other things. When you know the true meaning of the ring, Frieren didn't give up. You will appreciate it more from now on. Episode 15. The winter is over. Frieren's party is sitting on a carriage. This scene, it's kind of like the hero party going to conquest. Demon King. The stool is still sleepy, so the eyes are closed when open. Followed Frieren for 4 years. With Stark for a year. And with the Slug brother, just in the previous episode. After a short walk, the Slug feels missing. Something on the team. It's basically a shamanic avant-garde. The priests had things. But the Slug wants to be a charming old sister. I thought there was a lack of a thief. Because the master was tricked by the treasure Yang all the time. That the whole group puts the page to a village. I found out that everyone here is sleeping. The Slug noticed that everyone here was under a curse. In the world of Frieren. Then the magic, making people unconscious or petrified. Without a solution, it's called a curse. Friday can't solve it. However, the priests could. Because they learned magic from the goddess. People who are naturally born animals, you can use goddess magic. Because it requires a very high level of difficulty. That is why most priests, they're all resistant to the curse. After a period of investigation, the Slug discovered the source. The curse came from a monster. The stool starts to feel uncomfortable in the person making. Stark was worried that he himself is also under attack. As soon as you finished, you passed out. Slugs can't wake Stark. Because you can only wake up in 5 seconds. That's it. So Frieren had to use magic to carry the day. The fern also started to roll out to sleep. So Frieren's only got a barrier to protect them. After a search, then finally, the Slug also discovered a giant flower monster. He used the goddess's arrow magic to strike. Its weakness. It's the pistol that this monster can betray. The attack of the goddess. Now Sen is struggling to fight alone. Because before that, Frieren has fallen asleep too. Friday said that when you find the monster, wake her up and don't fight alone. Shin's magic can only sound. Frieren woke up in 5 seconds. I'm afraid that between me and Frieren, there's no coordination. So the giant magic, you can be betrayed and blow up the forest. At this time, please remember one thing. In the past, Hater told you about Frieren. You are a person not good at working with teammates. But people still believe her. Slug decided to believe in Frieren and woke her up. Just a second later, the monster is out of the forest. Under surprised eyes of slugs. That's how everyone woke up. One more time, Frieren rubbed the slug's head because he saved the entire village. Sometime later, the whole group goes to a big city to resupply the supplies. This is the head of the Odin family, one of the 3 largest families in the north. Your oldest son fought the demons before. And died. And he's very similar. Stark and the hero of this city. Mr. Odin has kept this a secret. Because they didn't want to demoralize the military. In 3 months, there will be a party of the elite. And he's looking forward. You can pretend to be your son and join him. Of course, both Stack and Frieren refused. But after hearing OD say that the salary is 10 gold, Frieren changed his mind. There's only one way to encourage you to try. Because of the group's travel expenses. Sometime later, start training to become a noble. And Frieren, Fern and Shin live like fairies in this city. Now Stark has become more elegant. But he got the golden eyes from Fern. Stark doesn't look like you to you. However, Mr. Odin asked for Fern. Must also participate in ritual learning. Because Stark needs a friend to follow. The days after that, Fan also has to taste the feeling. Tired of training like Stark. And Stark now has you. Odin teaches swordsmanship. Odin's family situation was quite similar to his as a child. My brother is very talented and my brother is very talented. There is no special ability like. Even so, but Odin still believes his younger son will be strong. And you. The party finally arrived. The past few days have been torturous for a young couple. It's all because of the cost of travel. So the young couple had a great performance. I'm very excited to give you a chance to push the boat. Maybe a little later. Stack and Spray had an interesting date. Slug also invited old Sister Frier to dance. What do you think, brother? The party is over. Odin wanted. Stark can replace your son and live here. You and your son are fighting over small things. If it wasn't for the eye injury, he went to war on the day. And your son died. Stark had a question. About Odin being a little insensitive to his son. And was acknowledged by Odin. Even if it's a little annoying, that this is the will that your son left behind. It's about finding someone to impersonate him. Odin has countless versions of Xiao, but Stark's the one. Now Stack is kind to Odin. But you can't stay. You've got to go far to get back to your foster father. Heard about the adventure. After this episode only, the butler had to wait for Frieren. I choose books all day. When I was a kid, I was a bored guy. I'm sitting fishing right now. My best friend came and asked me to take a picture. The slug immediately refused because it was rather bland. But my best friend dragged me away. And so this picture became a memory of the slug. Was he stored in a pendant until now? Frieren's taking the kids today to see a dwarf friend named Van. The stall feels very surprised, because not many people can talk to Frieren. That live until now. Even though it's just a small scene. But Shit and Stark seem so emotional. The group arrived in the village where Van lived. You're a warrior. They've protected this village for 400 years. But Van pretended he didn't know Frieren. And was discovered by you. Immediately, Van suddenly uses the sword to attack Stark. Make you fall on your face. He thought he was a skilled warrior. Be wary of both demons and humans. If I had drawn my sword earlier, Stark would have lost his leg. That was your last blow. Still makes Stark unable to rise. Friday decided to stay a week. Then, Manure and the village helped the people here harvest agricultural products. During this time, the staff had to work very hard. Though it is that you and everyone else are happy. A week goes by so fast. Van and Frieren are walking in the forest. Van Henstock is a very capable warrior. Friday thank you Van. Because the old year, it helped her better understand his brave army. In the past when the brave party came by, Van told him to hear about the reason that he protected the village for this place. That's where the dead wife is. Yours is very dear. I won't tell you the details. Because you think, keep my promise, it's a ridiculous thing to do with a dead person. But he doesn't think so. I think your wife will be very happy. Because you kept your promise. This made the Van very surprised. He believed Hima was the one who would destroy the Demon King. You will bring something, the memory of the great hero Himba to the future. Hima thanks Van. But you don't need him to do that either. Because Frieren, it's the one who's going to bring these wonderful memories. To the future. Back to the present. Van wonder that do not know whether Frieren. Do you remember Homer's face? Of course she remembers Van. Or he'd forgotten both his wife's face and the reason. We protect the village. Though, but he's still protecting it for something important. The writer is now confused. I didn't even know that the Demon King had been burned. Frieren, however, seemed to understand his intentions. She decided to bring back the memories of Van. To the future. You feel so happy. At the end of my life, I met a good person. The next day before we left, the Van said. Last night he dreamed of being with his wife. Friday goodbye to the old man. Months and days later, the whole group continues their journey. Slugs are reminding people right now, the real purpose of slugs, when participating in the trip is find your missing best friend. That's what Stack thought. They joined the team because they wanted to explore the same sexy older sister. Slugs always ask people about this best friend. And most people have met through him even though it's been 15. Because of my best friend. The slug is called the Gorilla Warrior. A name that's so impressive that the A also remembers. Stark felt this friend was strange. And slugs forget the reason. That's what your best friend made you call it. The group decided to stop by a nearby village. Slugs asked people about gorilla warriors. And he still remembers this name. But I don't remember where the gorilla was. If you want information, I advise everyone to find the old lady, stubborn living on the hill. Because she's very close to the gorilla warrior. Because she's a stubborn old woman. So she won't be easy. It's not a gorilla warrior story. She asked the slug to do some chores for her. In exchange for news. This reminds Frieren of the past. With a team of brave men, for him. I do these chores all the time. To help the people. Helped for half a day. And there's still no one on the team who can get along with this old lady. Friday wish he or hater here, this will be extremely easy. The woman's last job was to ask everyone. He had to polish the old statue of two ancient heroes who protected the village. The two people on the statue look exactly like slugs and their best friend. Friday realized that one of the two people is me. Look at this statue. It reminds me of something in the past. When I was a kid, I had a chance to talk to Hater. In this statue. My best friend wants to be a hero. Like a brave himba to always remember. Hater. Given that even the brave himba at some point, it will also be forgotten. That's why the slug's best friend decided. My name is Gorilla Warrior. No one will be able to forget you. And the slug will be called the Bearded Priest. When we first met, the old woman recognized the slug, because the gorilla told her so much. Tell me about you. She complimented that the slug polished the statue many times better, compared to Kia's best friend the gorilla. Finally, the old woman revealed that Cho, the gorilla warrior, is now in a city. The trade is in the east, the opposite direction from the city, the beast magic that the team is aiming for. Slug seemed very sad about this. Maybe your breakup with the group is coming. Episode 17. Because the purpose of slugs is to reunite with their best friend. So now I'm wondering, should we stay with Frieren's team? Or not? It's too late now. So the whole group, I decided to stay in a small house in the village. That night, the slug is in charge of keeping the wood warm. I'm in charge of the cooking ingredients. It's quite cold outside right now, so Fan's hands were almost frozen. I think this is the 6th century cold, since the group set foot in the north. Stark took the opportunity to warm up to the fern. She used her icy hands. Touching your face makes you scream. The snow has started to fall, but Frieren still decided to leave tomorrow. Because if there's no blizzard, there's nothing to be afraid of. The next day, the group was ready to go. It was a very big snowstorm. This storm will last for a month, so the team has to stay here. And this fits very well with Frieren's laziness. This is a village, so life here will be comfortable. It was different from the time I was with him. But the most special is still, there's a magic store in the village. The legendary magic. Frieren will visit here often. This is also the time, the last of the slugs before parting the group. A cold snap is about to end. The slug was sipping wine when Frieren appeared. She asked the slug to help her poop and start making peace, because reconciliation is the work of the priest. It's cold to drink. What is equal to that? I have to go back to help the young people. In the small house at this time, the stool is still very angry Stack. It's all due to the Stack, or whatever comes to the slug. He pulled the Stack into his own room. Stark said that when he first came into this little house, Fern put his cold hand on Stark's cheek to make fun of him. Today when Fern is reading a book, Stark did the same to you. That's why the feces got angry. From the perspective of an old man. Like a slug, there's a girl that's easy. Let people touch their cheeks. If Stack wants to heal with dung, just be honest with shit. Then she can apologize. Then it's spray time. You also admit your mistakes, for being unkind to Stark. Stool wasn't mad at Stark for touching her cold hand on her cheek. I was angry about the arm. Stark pressed too hard on her shoulder. It makes you feel scared. I asked him if he hated it. Of course not. Then you both go to work. What are you waiting for? And then Fern and Stark made up. Please ask Frieren to continue drinking. Old brother Slug extremely pissed off, because I have to deal with trivialities all the time. Of a young couple. I wonder why you don't love each other. Go. Give it quick. Fern thanks Sen for helping the two children. Sen wonder that I didn't know it Sao when Fern invited me to the team. You care again. Come to you like that. Frieren said that before you. Was like a slug that didn't want to go out and explore. Before I met him. So Frieren, I thought I had to give the slugs a chance. Thanks to him that Frieren. To meet wonderful people. And have a fun journey. Frieren asked if he felt that way. Of course there is. Slugs leave the pub. I kept thinking about the last time I was with him. Frieren. Dreaming with a friend from the past. Even if I'm with Frieren for a short time. But the slugs are happy. But you have a reunion. With a friend. Finally the next morning. The snail decided to break up the group. To find my best friend the gorilla warrior. This is a very gentle breakup. Because Frieren believes. I will definitely see the snail again later. Frieren's group soon reached the Offen Mountains. I got up early to collect vegetables and fish for breakfast. For the whole group. When you returned you were surprised. Because shit is still rolling in right now. And Frieren waking up late is like a meal. I guess I'm tired of walking a lot. So you cooked breakfast for the whole group. However, when the cooking is done, Stack still sees shit not waking up. So you woke up the Frieren. Getting her to wake up is a problem. A while later, Frieren woke up and found that Frieren had a fever. Fortunately, before going, the slug has left. Give me a magical archive book. Can catch disease for feces. From there you can find herbs. To cure the disease that she took to go millet pot. Friday contest. Magic on the Fern. As predicted by Friday. Fern has a fever. Now just warm up. Give Fern and look for drugs. Let her drink is fine. Friday remember, there's a section where you can collect 10 herbs. It's quite cold now. So the whole group took Fern to rest in a nearby village. Since Fern had a fever, Frieren always holds Fern's cold hand. Because Frieren's been with you since childhood, you know. When the feces are sick, if you hold hands, you'll feel better. But you're ashamed because you're not a child. Then, Frieren and Stark set out to find the ingredients. It's only been 2 years and shit. Higher than Frieren. With Frieren, you always think of shit as a child. While searching for materials, Stack fed a turtle. Remind you to remember, I also touched this turtle's head in episode 2. It's an interesting coincidence of a couple of little friends. Finally, they both came to an ice cherry tree. Of all the flowers, this is the one that Frieren favorite. I wish Fern could get better soon. Here I watched it. Start to wonder that Frieren is. I don't think Fern is a child. He always held his hand. Because when you're sick, looking at the stool can be quite painful. So Frieren, I can only hold her hand so she feels better. In fact, Frieren learned this from Homer. In the past, when Frieren's sick Homer himself, she also held Frieren's hand to make her feel better. When Homer was a kid, she used to do this to him. That Homer, I think adults like Frieren, they also need a spiritual support. Back to the present. Maybe the fans are ashamed to have you around. So should. Frieren suggested she hold your hand when she's stuck sick. Friday picking a poisonous mushroom. It makes the staff feel scary. Even more terrifying is Grandma cooks pot. It's like the witch is making poison. Thanks to Frieren's meds, Fern felt better. But you don't want to either. Master, just think of yourself as a child forever. Of course Frieren knows. But not every child is interested. The next day, the whole group say goodbye to the kind host. And then continue. It's my journey. Episode 18. The Frieren team quickly set foot to the largest magical city of the 6 northern snails. Master's feces. You can get a first-class shaman license. However, you think the one who should get it is shit. Friday thinks there's evidence. This one can't be used for long. Pretty self-deprecating shit for myself. Because you think there's only a few strong people. It's like Frieren deserves to be a first-class magician. The reason that going up to the Northern Highlands, you need a magician. Strong is because there's a lot of demons out there. As well as intelligent monsters. More. I guess something is going on there. It takes a first-class magician to get there. Fun. Suppose an old magician like Frieren. It will be easy to pass the exam. He was called the magician, so Frieren was angry. You haven't forgotten the case either. She dosed to call me a rotten old woman. Frieren plans to take a nap before arriving at the test site. Just lay down. I can only see half the sky, so I can't sleep. Friday said I'm not as strong as fans think. In the life of Friday, she'd lost to 11 people, 4 of whom were demons. 1 type and 6 people. In another scene, a magician named Yubel. She's on her way to the bar exam. They were blocked by a group of bandits. At this time the goblin priest, Kraft, appeared to drive away the bandits. In fact, the person Grab saved wasn't Yubel. It's the bandits. Because he soon realized that Yubel was a murderer. That's why Grab recognizes the Yubel anomaly. Because a few days ago, I've stumbled across some of the tombs of bandits. I wish Yubel would turn to the shore. Yubio noticed that this uncle was boring and left. Frieren group has arrived at the registration location. The shamanic competition is in 2 months. But only the annual magicians and so on. New eligibility to participate. Finished listening, Frieren. In a hurry, leave and hand over all responsibility to the Fern. If you can't win it, you can only go to the coast. That's it. Fortunately, there is a magician. Recognize the holy staff mark, the only thing. Proof, Frieren. It's a wizard. They allowed you to take the exam. Friday unexpected. In this day and age, people still know about this artifact. Years ago when I was with a team of brave men. Even him a hate. Neither Isa knew anything about Frieren's artifacts. They just know that Frieren's a great magician. That is how this era. There are still people who recognize her holy staff. Friday doesn't like to go to magic parties, because there's a lot of weird rules here. When the magic exam is held every 3 years, including 5th-rate magicians and above, there are about 600 people. 45 of them are first-class magicians. More specifically, what year is this exam? There are also people logged out. Frieren and Fern have 2 months to prepare for the exam. 2 months have passed very quickly. So many wizards were at the site. This year is considered the year. There are many potential magicians like Assign people to complete the exam. The fastest third-rate magician. To channel a royal or goodwill shaman. A leader of the Northern Demon Hunting Corps. But there are also troublemakers like Ubel. The one who destroyed it. A first-class magician in the last exam. And one of them also discovered Frieren. He's a very experienced magician. Before entering the first round, the supervisor randomly divides 3 people into a team. Team up with Ubel and a 4-eyed guy. Frieren is on the same team with 2 fish. Look, there's been a conflict. The supervisor led all the contestants to the venue. The first round takes place. To get through this round, contestants must catch a bird. It's called Steal, and have to be there before the sun goes down tomorrow, with enough 3 members. More during the contest. No one is allowed to leave. If you leave, you will be eliminated. Friday look is no round 1 requires ability to coordinate. Look at the 2 kids on the same team. You fight all the time and you only talk. That's it. These 2 kids have been best friends since childhood. And graduated from the same magic school. One is called La White and the other is called Can. The group had not seen the shadow for a long time. What a bird. I was tired and asked for a rest. White had the strength, so she decided to investigate. They also believe they are stronger than can be. So the 2 of you keep fighting each other. After La White left, I can apologize Frieren, because it made the team a little bit of a mess because of both of them, which was, or quarrel with each other since childhood. I just said a few words. La White is back, because she found the first steal. The bird is sitting on a quiet lake. Frieren advised the children to calmly observe it. But La White and can launch a coordinated attack. Catch the bird. But Steal is a very strong bird. So it's easy to escape La White's control. Give all 3 of them a bowl of cold water. Friday decided to spend the whole day. Let me close the stew. She realized that the ability of these 2 children to coordinate is above the great level, that they keep on fighting all the time. The night falls. I can wake up and not see Frieren. The boy decided to find it. Right now a giant bird monster suddenly appeared injured Can. They can only be powerless to call out their names. Fortunately, Frieren showed up in time and used bird-catching magic to catch it. When you can calm down, Frieren asked if you hated White so much. That's the truth. The 2 of you can coordinate excellently. To that, tell Frieren that's what she looks like. It's really cowardly. Previously on the flight test, I can't even fly. There's a lake down there. In that situation, only La White is always with you. You both hate each other, but you can. My best friend is always the leader. It makes you more confident. Lagoon is also the one who can kick down the lake. They make little ones can fly. I can hate Lagoon, because she's a person who always says rude things. It's just rough. You can also find information about the steel bird. And she told it to Frieren. I hope I can help you in some way. Episode 19. Many years ago. Tomorrow is the day of the Dragon War. Legend. So the AI Horn was quite trembling. He is also afraid of darkness. You've imitated other adventures to make the horned AI less afraid. And that, it helped him get more excited before the war. Back to the present in the shamanic exam. 2 kids can be white, still having a good night's sleep, even though it's a stressful test. It's true that everyone has different teammates. On the other side, Fern's team also captured a steal. I think the whole team was able to complete the test. But 4 Eyes says it's not that simple. Now everyone must prepare to fight, to protect this bird. The next morning, Frieren, to start testing their knowledge of birds. It's still a magical species, even though it limits a lot of magic. But when it gets close, it's still spotted. More, it can still fly at the speed of sound. So it's hard for a normal magician to catch it. The biggest problem for the whole team. I'm dealing with this bird. There's absolutely no magic, so the wizards, I can't feel where they are. From yesterday until now, the whole group has only seen it 3 times. Don't say. Is catch. With Frieren, you've got a way of catching this wise bird. Since ancient times, wizards have invented the magic of catching birds. It's a powerful control magic. It will work with skill. Frieren performed this magic last night. Catch a monster bird to save Can. However, this bird-catching magic is very difficult to use because of its range. It's only 50 centimeters, so we have to get close. The shamans just need to get close. He stole about 20 meters and was discovered. Frieren wants to confirm the children's magic. Plan to steal. With La White, her magic can freeze. The can is water. You can't make water if there's a lot of water. You can retain the skill. But if you can transfer magic power into water, steal, you can also recognize magic, and they'll immediately move away. This word can make Frieren come up with a plan. This plan was reviewed by La White. It will make other teams angry. White can be. The child is afraid. That's why I'm going white for a fight. Back to the team of Fern 4 Eyes. Given that, you should hide until the exam is over. Yubel said that. You're a magician, you have to jump out and fight. The team's water supply is running out. So 4 Eyes recommended, team, move out to the central lake to add more. In the middle of the road, 4 Eyes recognized the small streams in the... This is exhausted, because the organizers built a barrier to stop the flow. So all the water that's nearby, most of it flows to the big lake in the middle of the border. I think that's steal. They are creatures like humans. It will also need water to survive. If the other teams also realize this, they will also hide in the lake to catch the stealth. So the 4 sides offered to give up the water. It will be dangerous if the other teams realize we're holding a steal. Belle is very passionate about this. Because you're thirsty. Then just find a small water source. Then boil it and drink it. At this point, Team 8 suddenly appeared, attacking members of Fern's group to steal the bird. The leader of Team 8 is the funny guy Bio, captain of the Northern Demonic Order. Funny Belken Spray has a very fast reaction speed. If you want to live, leave the birdcage. Both teams are going to run into Ben. There's a big explosion coming from the side of the lake. Standing in the center of the lake, cast a spell that froze the entire lake. For all the other teams, it's very confusing. While the other teams are breaking the ice. On the 13th team, Royal Black Magician Ken. I immediately recognize Team 2. Friends. This shows that they have a way to steal. Let's try to steal from Team 2, who tried to use fire magic to break the ice. It'll make the skills panic, but run away. Other names. The wiser will find another source of water. Feel the magic again. Too bad to find it. For the channel, the wizards here are all pretty immature. Channels say if you want to move on. There's only one way to break Team 2's plan. That's it. On the way to Team 2, Team 13 discovered that the wizards were flying colors, attacked by the monsters of the sky. She's worried that fans feel this magic council. It's cruel when you don't care about the lives of your competitors. With the Magic Council, they need people of noble character. Being a first-class magician, there was this much danger that could not be sustained. And not a first-rate magician. Then there was a lot. Many people dream of being a great magician. Like when I was fighting the devil. But that idea with the channel name, it's too old. With the first-rate magician merely, it's a symbol of power. Even as a magician who wields great power, if you can't control the human mind, he's just a powerless man. In my life, the channel has seen a lot of wizards. The BA was treated. An abuse. So, channels claim that a magician is unqualified. Ricte saw Dan Ken's thoughts. Only for weak people like you. Let's say there's a fight, Rick. If you close your eyes, you will win. Team 13 moves to small puddles. Remain in the forest. You can't detect it. The clue left by Team 2. However, Black Channel can still recognize there's still a little magic left in this water. Even very small. From which Laufin recognized Team number 2. It's in a water source with no magic. And go on the channel and tell people to find it. As predicted by 13 Can and La White. According to Frieren's instructions, has gone to infuse magic into small water sources. Frieren's plan was have the two children infuse magic power into the entire water supply. In the boundary, there's only one source of water left, and Frieren is standing here. There's no magic. Frieren will sit here and hide his magic completely to catch the steal. At the time, the two children. I'll help you watch the other teams. The sunset has begun to fall. Waiting all day. Finally, there was also a student chaser parked on Frieren. And that's just a few simple operations. Frieren caught this skill. Can and La White are happy. The whole team was able to pass the first test. Frieren got it. My team is being watched by another team. That's the 13th team of Royal Mages to the canal. At the same time, the members of Team 4 and Team 8 are VA touching each other. I'm going to fight 4. With a girl named Air. And Yubio fights the captain of the demon squad Guibeo. Air uses magic to create a stone storm that attacks Fern. But Fern just needs to use magic. Basic defense. We can defend against this attack. Fighting style. Of shit makes Eric. I feel like I'm facing with a trained magician. Air admittedly Fern is an extremely nasty magician that if you confront Gibel, the Fern will soon be Quail. Because Guybel is a captain of the Legion of Demons. So you've got a lot of experience in combat. Guybel's magic is supposed to be magic. The most cowardly to win. Episode 20. That's why. But Fern can't win goodwill. Fern doesn't care at all. To what Air said so far. She creates a wave of magical attacks. These spells are not very sophisticated. But if Era keeps defending like that, Small can't win shit. On the other side, Yu-Gi-Oh magic allows you to cut anything. However, that is not enough to defeat an experienced captain like Yu-Gi-Oh. Use your true power to fight. Little girl just finished. Then noticed that my whole body can't move. As well as using magic. Magic, Funny Beef allows you to lock the movement of any AI in sight. In this condition, Guybell can send Yubel go anytime. And yet Guybell still spared Yubel for the goal. All you're after is the steel bird. Yubel realized since the two groups confronted each other, this funny Guybell has gone easy on everyone. This makes Yubel feel this battle. It's boring because you haven't hit your hand yet. Suddenly Ubio realizes if Ybio's goal is just to that bird at the SAO when she was tied up. He didn't come to get the Stewie. So Ubio threw the birdcage in the air. When Ubio did not notice the small Lao. To attack Ubio, get a blow that. That's what Ubio can do. I'm glad that Bio had a chance to make you fly and you don't. This kind of person McGilbio met a lot on the battlefield, and to you they're just trash. So the Gilbio decided to get rid of the Ubio here. Ubio wonder, I don't know if we Bio can fuck a girl. Or not. A demon-slaying captain in the north. Goodwill had a time to prepare for the civil wars, including women and children. It's a normal day north of Guybell. Yubel felt magic lock motion. Guybell's like, it's a magic trick to delay murder. Lesbian sarcastic hands of fun, that's a lot of corn. You want to go back to being human. Sometimes the Gilbio is weak and hesitant. But right now, that's when you decided to get rid of Ubio. Fortunately, the fans showed up in time to warn the Gilbio to stop. The presence here proves the area was completely defeated. Belle asked me how the situation was. The Dung says the little girl was sent to see her parents. Words. The Gilbio let go of the stream because of the condition. To get through the first rounders, all 3 members must survive. The Gilbio decided to let Ubio go and leave. The confusing act of Guybell makes Yubel boring. Angry to attack Guybell. But the Fern stopped it. Shit cry Ubio, let's go to the 4 Eyes. But Ubio says it's not necessary. Because he's a very strong guy. Towards 4 Eyes, now he's being treated for chondrosis. The 4 Eyes still use a static point state. An analysis of the weakness of Wax. That's what Wax has been fighting about. It's just a clade of 4 Eyes. And the true essence of the 4 Eyes is behind the Wax. Since when is not good? From the beginning of the first exam, the 4 Eyes used their bodies to walk. Because you don't trust any strangers. On the other side, the Gilbio had just discovered that he had been duped. You come to wake Air. And laughed because he ran out of magic power. Air was the valedictorian of the Magic Academy. But they're overwhelmingly divided on the amount of magic. Attack. I was at war with Yubel. Wooble, I can't even feel the presence of the phone near here, plus the sail for air. I think you are a monster. The air was running out of magic, so he couldn't move. So it's funny, Bio has to carry Mir to find wax. And Cu also ate a pot of onion porridge and fainted. So the wax was beaten too, so it couldn't move. So it's fun to carry a weight. There is a heavy rain outside the border right now. It's kind of like the mood of a happy pig right now. Only 3 hours left to finish the contest. Team 8 now has 2 people who can't fight. This is almost the end game. You see, goodness is also a good person. Is it because of that kindness? Goodwill fights the devil. Right? When Air was a child, it was Goodwill who saved the village. Bio denied that he was not fighting for kindness. It's fighting for desire. At the age of 5, did you like a girl who'd taken refuge back home? Then, the Gilbio looked like I was going to beat all the demons. Currently, the Gilbio doesn't even remember her face. The Gilbio also called himself an idiot. Right now, Era. I found a steel suddenly. On a recent tree branch. Belle immediately used the motion lock magic. Yours to catch it. And he's been trying so hard to do something. Back to the team. Frieren's words prevented her from protesting. Outside the boundary, the 2 judges of the competition are still eating and drinking. Genau said that luck. It's an important part of being a magician. But there are still wizards who actually steal. Without the need for luck. The sun will set in 3 hours. There's a fascinating fight going on here right now. Team 2 and Team 13. I think the 13 will be easy. Victory for power. Of the channel is no less than a first-rate magician. The magic that Loefan used earlier to steal the birdcage from Frieren is Silver a move with high speed. Friday wondering why you 2 didn't hide. Is it better? Laofan is also a fairly immature magician. So it's going to leave a lot of traces of magic, so Frieren. It will be easy to find out. That's why Black Vultures and Rick Tay will be nasty obstacles. In the age of black magic, there's no AI. I don't know the legendary wizard. The Friar of the Brave. Friday seems pretty surprising because of this. But her face didn't seem too surprised. While I'm on the Frieren channel, Rick's going to ruin one of these kids. So Frieren's team. There will be no 3 members and they will be officially eliminated. So the channel immediately stopped Rick Tay. Because you just need both feet together. Frieren is enough. To you, being a first-class magician is something not worthy of a person's life. This makes Rick Tay pretty 7 hopes. He thinks the channel's name is a royal magician. So it will be cruel and tricky. Friday also agrees. From the point of view of the channel. Because first-rate magic is just a title. Rick tag tomorrow Friday. I don't know anything about life. The Magic Association was formed and emerged half a century ago by the Great Wizard series. Until now, she's been looking for wizards since she fought with the Demon King to make them first-class magicians. Siri is a wizard who knows everything. The magic of humanity. So wizards get promoted to first class. You will enjoy a privilege. It's about possessing a kind of magic. Whatever I want. First-rate magicians are now Cerebin. Giving privileges is no different than monsters. That's why that a lot of wizards took the exam. Black Ken for that things. Rictay just told me that's ridiculous. Black Ken asks Rictay, just make the two kids unconscious. But Rick doesn't seem to care. Frieren and Denken. He's one of the few magicians who doesn't care. To fame or power, but with Rick it's different. He created a mountain that divided Frieren and the two children. The battle is really starting now. Under the mountain will be a battle of two wizards. A lot of experience. Episode 21. Denken and Frieren have the same thought. Privileges and fame are just crap. With the channel name, magic is the funniest thing when we're pursuing it ourselves. So many years ago, Frieren was led by Master Flam in front of the Great Shaman. Series. I just saw Frieren. Siri loved this girl. Siri wants Frieren. Say the magic you want the most. I'll give you one. And Frieren said he didn't need it. With Frieren, magic is only fun when we're chasing it. This makes. Give Siri a comment. Frieren is a child who's not okay with a lack of ambition. Flam is very confident in his students. He will one day defeat the devil. This is what a magician desires. Fight like the series can't. Flam believes that Frieren is the shaman. It will usher in an era of peace. Back to the contest. Frieren also agrees with the idea that the channel name is. Magic is only fun when we pursue it ourselves. On a nearby mountain, La White tried to freeze Rictay, but he doesn't seem to be hurt. In an environment without water, you can. It's almost impossible to do anything. And La White, then the small attacks are too weak. The level difference between the two sides is huge. However, the two children kept attacking Rick. This makes him feel. It's like babysitting on the channel. At first Rictay seemed to have relented. So both La White and Can are very confident. So he stood up and explained to both kids. This immature about defensive magic. Defense techniques invented by humans. To fight the piercing magic. From the devil. However, over time it has not been upgraded. Because that's all. More than enough to withstand a physical attack. From the usual monsters. That's why, the kind of attack magic that can be completely overcome. Defense shield layer. That. It's the ability to control matter. Just finished Rick. And then I made a sale for both kids. After the attack, both Can and La White was seriously injured. But still stand up to provoke Rictay. Those are two troubled kids. Rick is begging you two to sleep. Because his mission is just... I knock two kids unconscious. As long as you don't lose by Friday. Rictay very confident in his level. Even if there is water here. The child can't be his opponent. La White enlists the provocation of Rictay's ego to bring Can to an environment with water. But he's a pretty calm guy. It's not easy to be seduced by a child's words. On the other hand, the battle between the Frierens and Denken, it's very dramatic if you fight for a while. Then Denken will lose because it runs out of magic power. That's why he created a tornado of fire. Super big giant. To beat Frieren. This tornado is so big that it's touching the boundary surface. Sen's fear that the boundary will be affected. But Gino thinks this is the barrier created by the magician of the Great Series. So just use the power. It's not enough to destroy it. Sen's reported that last night there was a magician who tried to break the barrier. But it didn't work. Back to the battle. The fire tornado attack just couldn't do it. For Frieren, she was injured because she had created a protective shield. Go to the channel immediately made dozens of light arrows attack Frieren. But it didn't work. On the contrary, the channel is still open. Take that opportunity. Frieren knocked out the royal magician. Go to the channel. Friday, I want to go to Kia immediately to reveal the position of Lao Fan. But you are ready. So should. Frieren threatened if the fans didn't deliver steel. I'll take you back to the channel with you. The channel advised fans not to use Jinwoo, because Frieren has solved this magic. I think this grandfather is very talkative, so Frieren's going to use an end-of-life spell on the canal. That's how you can catch Lao Fan. Run out to save him.